Is my hair lopsided?
No, you look good.
Mm.
Hey, and welcome to our first installment of Conversations with Black Women in Tech.
Oh,
And it's so ironic and hilarious that our first episode we had tech issues. So that's funny. But so I'm glad we're here. We're a little frazzled, but we getting it done. So welcome, friend. How are you? Tell us a little
how
bit about yourself.
are you? I'm doing good.
Good, good. So tell us a little bit
Well,
about yourself. Do a
okay.
brief
So my
intro.
name is Angel Regis. Good evening, everyone, or good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Hello. We made it here. My name
Yes.
is Angel Regis, a data engineering associate and lover of people. I love connecting with women, especially women in tech, because this is our conversation, right? About
Yes.
leveraging those spaces so more of us and more representation can be, doing work, wonderful work in tech, but huge tech advocate, cannabis advocate, a mom of three, and
Mhm.
entrepreneur. I just love as I'm learning things in this world and the older I get, sharing it, leveraging it, and making sure that we all are successful. And I can
I
do
love
all that I
it.
can to, to be able to motivate somebody else because we all have a story. And
Mhm.
I have a little motto that says that we are the answer to someone's prayers. I do not want to hoard my gifts. That's not what I'm here on this earth for. I want to
Mhm.
be able to be active, to be progressive, innovative, because this is, we're in tech, right? But to
Mhm.
also serve in
Yeah.
whatever way the Almighty sees fit. I'm here. I'm
I
always
love
willing to
that
share
you were
resources and technique.
the first person I thought of when I was thinking about, what kind of segment did I want to do, because I know we had
Yeah,
connected before talking about doing something for the kids. But I
yeah.
just think so. I went to school for engineering many, many moons ago, and
Mhm.
it wasn't the best experience just because you're a black woman, you're in a field that at that time wasn't normally dominated, was dominated by white males. So I want to talk about, your experiences, if you have any, with just trying to break into a space that's not traditionally, you don't see a lot of black women, although we are starting to break into that space a little more. But how did you cope with just the stares and the down talking, just trying to break into that industry?
Well, in order to answer your question, I would have to give you a little tidbit about my story, how I even got into the world of tech.
Mm.
Um, Circa 96. That dates me way back, but listen,
Yeah.
we fine, we 50, that's all right.
Yes.
We just have this conversation, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But back in 96, I worked for this company called MFS, Metropolitan Fiber Services. I worked there for about 10 months through an agency. And as we know, when we work for these employment agencies, the pay is dismal, but we do what we can. And, that's what we have there. These are humble beginnings. I worked there
Hmm.
for about 10 months. I was sales support. And, but mainly my job was as a clerk for a sea of men in the telecom world. There's a telecommunications company, and I
Hmm.
would order literally supplies, paper, pencils, pens, whatever they need. Their headquarters was in Chicago. So what my supervisor said, well, Angel, whenever you get a call and it says, and I'm looking for keywords, right? Maintenance or install. You
Hmm.
print out these work orders and you put a pile here and a pile there. I'm like, okay, fine. But after 10 months, I was tired. I needed something with my goal was a job with benefits, right?
Hmm.
So I can
Like most of our
floss.
girls was
But
back in the day.
yes, you had a job. What? With benefit,
Mm.
girl?
Yes.
You good. So what ended up happening, there was this magazine. I'll never forget it because these are key periods in why I got into this space and still am. Um, Telephony magazine would feature all these jobs for men and women As long as you're willing to learn, they're willing to train you. So back in the day, companies would, what we call OJT, on the job training. They would, invest in people, whether you're a cable person, a network control center, whatever it is, whatever that domain within telecom. And telecom was huge back then. They would train you, and you would be traveling, or you're, in a particular city. So I applied. I would apply like literally, and that's when I would have to use a fax machine, like 10 resumes a day. I work
Mm-hmm.
Monday to Friday. I would send it out, and I look for keywords on the job openings. Willing to train, willing to learn. Okay, that's for me. I didn't even care about the title. These are the words that I was looking for. But another thing that occurred, and I think that really piqued my interest into women can do what? There was this young lady called Charmaine Henry. And I remember these things because these are things that sort of help um, change the scope of how I saw women in a space that I didn't understand yet. I remember she would talk to these guys. It was just one girl. She's Jamaican. She would talk
Mm-hmm.
to these guys in the field, but the language was different. The interaction was different, But I said, man, it was just so empowering to see a woman to be able to communicate with men in a field that I didn't see that many women, if at all. She was the first. you
Mm-hmm.
know we had one logistic manager that I knew before I started working there, but she would order cables and what I didn't know all this. I just know it was just a lot of parts. And then Charmaine was working on what I later years later I knew what she was doing. She was working on these pieces of equipment called muxes, but she would talk to these guys, and they respected her. She
Mm-hmm.
knew what she was talking about, but I didn't know what that was. And another gentleman, a supervisor there, Mr. Lovelace, he saw my
Mm-hmm.
interest in wanting to know what are these guys talking about, and he would take his time, a couple of days a week, to sort of help me navigate around test equipment. They were huge. They looked like NASA, all these lights and stuff. I didn't understand much of that. I knew that I wanted to learn what that was. And
Mm-hmm.
sending out my resumes. Finally, this company from Pennsylvania actually responded. So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm like, oh, as the word, I'm like, oh God, what do I do now? They actually took me seriously. I said, fine. I'd never been to PA before. Took the bus. Greyhound at the time was in its heyday, and Peter Pan met me at the train station. The first, remember those, right?
Uh-huh.
Met me in the station in King of Prussia. And the operations manager for this small little company, um, Eastern Telelogic, met me. I interviewed with the owner because he actually worked there physically. I interviewed with the network engineers. I interviewed with the director of engineering. I interviewed with everyone except the HR manager. She was out on vacation then. But the interview wasn't what we think a tech interview would be. They more or less wanted to see your drive, your passion to
Yeah.
learn something. And I
Mm-hmm.
was just truthful. I said,
That's
listen,
what I was going to
I
say.
understand.
That's
I
what I hear you saying, that your drive and
yeah,
you were resilient and you kept pushing through to get even to the
yep,
interview part, because representation matters, right? Like if you hadn't seen, what's her name,
ex-
Charmaine, you might not have even known
yep,
that you could take that next step. So that's dope.
yep, exactly. And I sat with him. I said, I've never worked, I've never tested any circuits, I've never done all this work, but I'm willing to learn. I want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
If you take a chance. And we concluded our interview. Ops manager drove me back to the bus station, and on the way he said, Angel, you got the job,
Wow.
girl. Listen, and it benefits too.
Look, you got your benefits, right?
Making a decent salary. Yes, making a decent salary, and I didn't know what that ride was going to be, how long I was going to be in it. I just knew that, wow, I am going to be doing something new, something different, something exciting. But I commuted from Brooklyn. I think I
Mm,
did that probably a couple months every day. And I would get there before my fellow colleagues who worked there and lived in PA. Every
mhm.
day I did this. It was
That's because
hard.
you wanted
It was
it.
tiring.
Yes.
Yes, yes, I did. I wanted it so bad. I wanted to do the things that I'm seeing all this stuff around me. I had a hard training. I had a great trainer. He wore a pocket protector. I don't know if people remember what that is. Literally, it's a little
Mhm.
plastic thing, a sleeve you put inside, you protect it from, if your pen's from leaking. He had a clipboard, and he was good, and he
Mhm.
was tough, and he was just like, his mind was brilliant. I had to shadow him, and he taught me rigorously. I mean, I had to, I had headaches every day because there
Mhm.
was so much to learn. I still didn't understand what that meant with me being in this new world in tech, but I was there with it. I stuck with it. I worked in a network control center. My first school training was in King of Prussia as their email back then, when companies would, that was a feature, they would, a lot of telecom companies would sell services to their clients, B2B clients. And I was their first email administrator. I worked
Mhm.
with the guys that were in Philly at 2130 R Street. And I would do the logical stuff, programming in our database, and then they did the physical wiring work and stuff like that. And then from there, I gravitated from there to, we created a group called a Test and Turn Up group. It was the four of us. I was the only female in that group, the only African American female in that group, mind you, in that company at that
Mhm.
location. So I was able to create a group
Freezing up a little bit, Angel. If you have
and
any
yeah, that
questions,
was
oh, okay, I'm sorry. You were
my
frozen.
okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. And that was my foray, and I just worked my way through. Learned how to wire from in-house to, I worked in Philly for many years. And you just have to be able to focus, understand that it's not a one-stop shop thing. You have to be able to focus and know what it is that you want to do, and not get intimidated by all the men that you work with, because that's something that, if you don't build a backbone in this industry, and in any tech, it's for me, as a my personal experience, you can
Mhm.
break, you know um
Someone said that they were interested in breaking into tech.
mhm.
Um, I know things have changed a lot since then.
Yeah.
And you're still working in that field. Do you have any tips now? Like, how would somebody get into that? What type of training do you think they should probably? I know it really depends on what aspect they
Yeah.
want to do, but there's a lot of free resources out there. So, do you
Oh
have any
yeah.
suggestions on how somebody could do something like that?
Absolutely. I'd say, if your interest, and sometimes, like you said, you may not know fully what that is, what that fit is for you, because it's such a vast field. Connect with someone.
Hmm.
If it's cybersecurity, I can tell you off the top of my head, WISIS, Women in Cybersecurity. They're on LinkedIn, they're on Facebook. Join the group, ask
Hmm.
questions, because the tech community is very, very open. They're always
Hmm.
willing to share something, and you will find someone, you'll connect with someone within these cohorts who are newbies, beginners, more advanced. They're always willing to share information. Join that group,
Hmm.
connect, reach out. Even though you don't know, and it's worked for me, because even in cyber, I didn't know that where I wanted to fit after I was done with telecom. I just knew there was somewhere else that I needed to sort of flourish within the tech industry. So that's what I did. I became a mentee within WeSys. I asked questions. I connected with quite a few phenomenal women within that domain. And as far as data science, which I'm in this domain right now, it's just connecting with people, not being scared to ask. What's the saying? A closed mouth don't get fed. You know, Reach out to me. I could,
Yeah.
I can share resources that it's never ending. But that
Mm-hmm.
community is so vital. Connect. Just
What's
connect.
one of like the best experiences you would say that you've had since you've been in this field?
The most
Like a
this most
memorable. Hmm.
um I'd say in telecom, it was me working with a gentleman I worked with through this company called Zayo, and I worked there for many years, and we were able to help before Cricket Communications came into Southeast, and they were building their network. We were a big part of what they are now today within they're actually in Trooper right off of 422. So that was a big project. It was just me, this gentleman, our field techs, and an engineer, and we worked, and I learned how to, you know, pretty much how that network looks like logistically and physically. I didn't work in the field anymore, but it was just great to work in such a vast project and to see it, emerge into what it is today. So yeah, that was exciting. And as far as now in the data, which I love. I'm just getting my feet wet in this domain. That I actually, interviewed one of my biggest tech interviews and made it through. And now, I have a, year-long apprenticeship with a worldwide company, which is, sought after with Accenture. So
Oh,
I think that's cool. Yeah.
congratulations. Have
Thanks.
you learned anything about yourself, on this journey, some things you didn't know about yourself?
Um, I think one thing I can think of is I thought I was done with tech. Like, wait, I've done it way too many years. There's got to be something else creatively that I want to do. And I just discovered no. I think what happened to me was that this other side of Angel emerged, and I want to be more of someone who, I've always liked sharing. I've, whatever I'm learning, that's just me,
Mhm.
right? But I
Mhm.
want to position myself more that I can be more of a resource for women, especially women of color in this
Mhm.
space, to
Mhm.
be more vocal and stop hiding, you know.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and just to position myself a little bit more, especially in data. I think I just love data, and the possibilities are just endless to do
Mhm.
great work in
Yeah.
data, but to be more of a resource for women and women of a certain age, which I am. I'm 51, and here I am. I'm able to, you know, what people call second chances. I just call, just taking a chance again and seeing
Mhm.
what, you know, how you can do good work in this world. It's something you love.
Awesome. Well, Angel, I'm so glad you came on, even though we had our little technical difficulties in the beginning. How can people find you? They want to connect with you to, get some resources.
Sure. I'm on Facebook. I may not be on there as often as I'd like, but my work schedule is a little bit sometimes a little bit stringent, but I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as well. And I'm also on Instagram. I'm trying to share a little bit more content with my journey. You can
Mhm.
reach me at Pearls and Code on Instagram, and Angel Regis on LinkedIn, Angel Regis on Facebook, and inbox me. I do answer. I love connecting with people. We have a great time online
Yep.
and offline, right? So I'm
Yep.
always willing to answer a question, always willing to have that conversation. I'm always willing to be an advocate, and to hold you accountable too. It takes work. It's
Mhm.
not just, oh, I want to do this, and then you have to take it seriously. I want to connect with people who are ready to take next steps. And I tell you this, Accenture is always looking for people to and especially women, right, to come into this space, whether you have whether you're from a non-traditional tech background, or you have a technical background, or you have a technical background within so.
You were breaking up a little bit. You said even if you're coming from a non-traditional background.
Yes.
Mhm.
Accenture is open to, always connecting with the right candidates to work there, or, within the apprenticeship program. So please connect with me. I would love to connect you with whoever I need to, whether it's Accenture or a boot camp or resources, you name it. Whatever I can do to help if that is
Mm,
your desire.
breaking up again, Angel. But thank you again for joining me today. Thank you everyone for watching. You can reach Angel on Facebook and LinkedIn, and you can check out her IG at Pearls and Code. Have a good evening. Thank you, Angel.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening,
Bye.
everyone. Thank you for having me. Bye.
No problem. Bye.